looks like it's good.
All right, so Anna Kujawa, Course in Miracles class, and we're going to start with an opening meditation, and then we're going to go into the section that Spirit has chosen for us this evening. So go ahead and close your eyes. Take a breath. All right, this is our time to allow our minds to retire from the world for a few moments and to seek reality instead. So we take a breath and we allow our minds to come back home to the right now, where they can rest and open and focus and heal. So just breathe, allowing your mind to come to rest in the right now. Allowing our minds to rest and focus and heal right now in this holy instant. The present moment is where your mind is at home and where it can finally rest from its restlessness. When the mind can rest from searching in the past or the future, the mind can focus and rise above fatigue and heal. So to help your mind to rest and stay in the present moment, we ask ourselves, what is happening right now? What is here right now? And breathe. And who is here right now? And then who am I right now? Only right now. Who am I right now? Without a past and without the future, who are you right now? What part of you is timeless? What part of you goes on forever? It's been forever and it goes on forever. For a moment, I just want you to feel for that. Feel for the part of you that has been forever and will go on forever. I want you to feel for the part of you that was never born and never dies. And breathe it in. Feel it. Open your heart to this part of you, your real self. You to see if you can feel the part of you that has no limits in space and time. The part of you that is connected with infinite potential, loving infinite potential always. What does that part of you feel like? And if you knew that you did not begin at birth and you did not end at death, what would you feel right now? If you knew that, if that was true, and you knew that, what do you think you would feel right now? What would that feel like? We're tuning in here to our real self, our true self, our self as we were created by our Creator. That's what we're feeling for here, feeling for it, feeling for our real self, tuning our awareness into our real self, our true self. And we're feeling for our one self. The Course in Miracles teaches us to say, I am one self, united with my Creator and at one with every aspect of creation. That's my real self. So feel for that self. Breathe it in. part of you that's deathless and timeless and unlimited. I want you to imagine that it has a voice and that it is always speaking to you, and it wants to speak to you, and it wants you to hear it. Then I want you to ask it to speak to you. And so we say to our real self, our higher mind, our one mind, speak to me, my true self. Speak to me that I might be healed. And then listen. And listen for that still small voice that's always there, always waiting. A voice that knows you completely, accepts you unconditionally, and loves you with the love of God. Listen. And breathe. Beautiful. And if there's anything that you have been carrying the burden of by yourself for too long now, and I want you to cast that care upon your real self, your one self. If you are carrying any burden on your heart right now, I want you to cast that burden upon your real self. Say, my one self, my real self, here's my burden. Here's the burden that's been on my mind and on my heart. I'm going to give it to you. Go ahead and cast your cares upon your real self, because it cares for you. Unburden yourself. Beautiful. And what does it feel like to feel your higher self, your one self, taking that burden from you? What does it feel like to unburden yourself to this spirit that cares for you and takes your burdens from you? What does it feel like to feel that you are not having to carry your burdens alone? What does that feel like? And breathe it in. Breathe in that feeling. Let that feeling of not being alone or on your own heal your uncomfortable sense of isolation and loneliness. Let it heal your fear and your anxiety. This awareness and this healing is the correction of the belief in separation, which is our only problem, the only cause of sickness and suffering. And then in conclusion, spend a couple of moments just feeling the fact of our oneness, which is our wholeness. And so we practice feeling the fact, feeling our reality, the reality of oneness, which is our reality of wholeness. I am one self, united with my Creator and at one with every aspect of creation. Thank you, God. Let reality be real. Let reality be true. Let the truth be true. And let it heal you. Beautiful. All right. Then take a deep breath and begin to bring your awareness back to the room and back to your body, sitting in this chair, this time, this place. Take a deep breath. Whew. Oh, that feels so good. It feels so good. Oh my God. Awesome. I could do that with you guys all day, all night, all day. Thank you. Thank you for making it easier for me to do that. Thank you. Thank you, really. So much easier to do that when we are together. So thank you. Awesome. All right. So, where we are at this evening is lesson 333, 333, interesting number, in the workbook of Course in Miracles. If you need a book, there is books right here. Come on up and get it, hon. Everybody say hi to Harlan. Hey, oh, bye, Harlan. All right, lesson 333 in the workbook. And the lesson title is Forgiveness Ends the Dream of Conflict Here. Anybody else need a book before we start? Okay. So, this lesson talks about how conflict is resolved. Very simple. But it also, on a deeper level, is also about how the ego is resolved, right? What is ego? Ego is a mistake. Ego is a conflict. Ego is a mistake, and ego is a conflict that comes from a split mind. Ego's got to be resolved. But first, we're going to talk about conflict. And then after we're done with this, since it's short, then we're going to go back to a deeper level of how the ego is resolved. So, but we're going to start here. So remember, this is about how the only way for conflict to be resolved. So the first thing that I want us to do before we start so that this is practical, is I want us to close our eyes for a second, and I want you to bring to your awareness something that you feel in conflict about. Something that you feel in conflict about, whatever that is. Is it a situation, a relationship? What is the place where you feel a conflict about that you would like to possibly have some resolution around right now? I want you to just tune in for a moment to how that conflict feels. What are the emotions you feel with that conflict? And then I want you just to very, very briefly ask yourself, what's the story I've been telling myself about this conflict? What is the story I've been telling myself about this conflict? Well, you know, if they were different, I'd be happy. If this were different, I'd be happy. Look what's happening to me. What's the story you're telling yourself about the conflict? Beautiful. All right, open back your eyes. Okay, now, this is what we want to apply this lesson to right now in this class. If you do not see how this lesson applies to that conflict that you just brought to your awareness, then I invite you and encourage you to raise your hand and say, I don't see how this conflict applies to you know him or you know what, okay? So that you can get the miracle that you are entitled to tonight. What's a miracle? It is a resolution to conflict. That's what a miracle is. It's some kind of resolution to a conflict. All right. Now, this says conflict must be resolved. Okay. How does conflict end? It gets resolved. Interesting. Conflict must be resolved. What does that mean? That means conflict to be resolved cannot be evaded. This conflict cannot be set aside in order to be resolved. This conflict cannot be denied. This conflict, if you want it to be resolved, cannot be disguised. If you want this conflict to be resolved, you can't see it somewhere else besides where it is. And if you want this conflict to be resolved, you can't just call it by another name. And if you want this conflict to be resolved, you can't hide it by deceit of any kind. If you want to escape this conflict. Okay, let me ask you this question. Do you want to escape this conflict?
Yes.
Anybody here want to keep that conflict past tonight? Anybody? Just checking. Anybody's conflict so good that they're not sure that they would like to give it up? Yes, okay, you have one of those.
Where are we?
We are in lesson 333 in the workbook. Okay, so do you hear how conflict is resolved? The first part of how this conflict is going to be resolved is I can't evade it, set it aside. I can't deny I got a conflict. I can't disguise my conflict. I can't see my conflict somewhere else besides where it is. I can't call this conflict by another name. And I can't hide this conflict by deceiving myself or lying to myself of any kind. I can't do any of that if I want to escape it, if I want it resolved. Okay? So this is the attitude we start with so that this conflict can be resolved. Okay. Then it says, we're going to say it again, this conflict must be seen exactly as it is. Your conflict also must be seen where it is thought to be. Also, this conflict must be seen in the reality which you've given it, and also your conflict must be seen, you must see the purpose that the mind has accorded your conflict. Okay? That's the next set of instructions. What's the next thing I got to do with this conflict if I want to escape it and I want to resolve it? I'm going to have to see it exactly where it is. I'm going to have to see it exactly as it is. I'm going to have to see it where I think it is. Where do I think this conflict is? And I'm going to have to also see exactly the reality which I've given it and the purpose my mind gave it. That's what I'm going to have to do. All right? So in other words, I'm going to have to get out of denial. I'm going to have to get honest. So it's not about, I don't have any conflict. I'm at peace all the time. I love everybody. You're going to have to acknowledge, see it in the reality, acknowledge the reality you've given it, okay? I see it as outside of myself. I really do think it's them. I really do think it's my boss. I really do think it's this condition I got going on in my body, okay? That's how I see it. How exactly do you see it? I see it as outside of me, happening to me, and truly, if they were different, I'd be happy. If this were different, I'd be happy. And that's also where I think it is. And also, you've got to acknowledge the reality which you've given it. In other words, you've got to also say, and I think it's real. I think it's in them. I think it's happening to me. And I think it is real. You got to acknowledge that to you, it seems real. You can't be all airy-fairy, metaphysical going, I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem. You have to see it in exactly the reality that you've given it. In other words, you got to get out of denial. To me, this problem seems real right now. So the first thing you got to know is you can't escape it, can't evade it, can't deny it, can't hide it if you want to escape it. The next thing you got to do is you got to get honest about it. You got to tell yourself the truth about how you see it. Instead of being metaphysical and airy-fairy and positive thinking, you need to be honest about the reality you've given it, the story you're telling yourself, where you see it, and what you think it is. Okay? Do you see the formula here about how to escape this conflict? All right? Now, is this the problem-solving approach of the world? Is this the problem-solving approach that we have learned? Is this what we heard about how to solve your problems? Not even close. Not even close. Okay, this one's saying you're going to have to take responsibility for it. You're going to have to get out of denial about it. And you're going to have to tell yourself the truth about the way you see it, the way you see it right now. Stop pretending that you're enlightened and that you have accepted the truth. Don't stop pretending that you are enlightened and just acknowledge the truth. I'm in conflict. And I've got to face it. I can't run from it and escape it and deny it and evade it and project it anymore. And I got to tell myself the truth about what I think it is, without fear of sounding unspiritual. Okay, that's why we're afraid to tell the truth about our conflict. We're afraid that we will sound unspiritual or like we're insane. Or like we're insane, like we are. I'm afraid that people will perceive that I am insane, like I am. Okay.
That's like what the New Testament says, be in the light because I am in the light.
Yes, exactly. But one of the things that some of us make the mistake of doing, especially when we're on a spiritual path, is we make the mistake of thinking that if I just pretend to be positive if I just be positive all the time, then I will be positive all the time. Then if I just say the truth, if I just don't acknowledge that I have an ego and my ego tells me this and my ego does this, then somehow I will be enlightened, right? And so the Course in Miracles is saying actually it's not that. In order to escape the conflict, in order to escape the ego and the darkness, you're going to have to stop trying to be positive, stop faking being positive, and get real and tell the truth as you see it. And if you are in conflict, guess what? The truth as you see it is, I'm in conflict, it's not my fault, it's happening to me, if they were different I'd be happy, etc., etc. Okay, so A Course in Miracles very often feels and seems negative to those who are trying to solve their problems by positive thinking. You ever done that? If I just, I'll be positive, I'm off the light, I'm in the light, I'm in the light, I'm off the light. That's good, okay, that's true. But until you look at what your ego believes and how much you believe that with your ego, then it don't matter how much positive affirmations that you put upon your crap. It won't matter. Nothing will change. You'll be saying positive affirmations all day long. Have them on your mirrors, have them in your car, have them on your phone, but nothing will change because saying the truth without looking at the conflict that you're in and the reality you've given it, only that brings it to the light and enables it to be truly resolved for real. Okay?
You have to feel your feelings.
Exactly.
So we have to bring the light to the darkness.
Exactly. And we have to look. We have to look. We don't want to look at our darkness. We don't want to look at our conflict. We don't want to look at our ego. We want to evade it. We want to look away. We want to look at other people's egos. We want to look at other people's problems. I want to look at Donald Trump's problems. I don't want to look at mine. His problems are, I want to look at his problems. I want to distract myself from my conflict. I want to numb myself out. I want to distract myself. And
Or I want to believe Donald Trump's problems are my problems.
Yes, I want to believe that his problems are not my problems.
Or they are.
Or they are, right. Yeah, exactly. So, in other words, the one thing that we don't want to do when we're in conflict, the one thing our ego doesn't want us to do when we're in conflict, is to look at it. Look at the story we're telling ourselves about it. Look at where we think it is, who we think it is, the reality we've given it. This seems really real and true to me. This problem I'm having seems frickin' real. Don't tell me my financial problem isn't real, but I believe it's real. So it says this is the only way for conflict to be resolved. All right. Now, so conflict is not resolved by positive thinking. I am rich and beautiful and holy, and I deserve love. I am rich and holy, and I'm beautiful, and I deserve love. That is true. You are rich and beautiful and holy, and you do deserve love. That is true. But you don't believe it. That's the problem. And just saying it over and over and over doesn't make you believe it. The only thing that enables you to get to the real belief in that is to look at the part of you that doesn't believe it. And look at it. Don't evade it. Yes?
I just had a few comments. Connor just wanted to say, wow, I can already tell this is exactly what I need to hear. Thank you, Anna.
Thank you, Connor.
Connor, your mom is totally
Oh, by the way,
smiling.
your mom and grandma say hi.
And then CJ says, yes, fear of being seen
Yes.
as less than
Yes.
keeps us in the ego's trap.
Exactly. Trying to keep that positive, enlightened image keeps us in conflict. Yes.
Because it occurred to me that one unintended consequence, or perhaps intended consequence, of just focusing on positive affirmations is changing behavior,
Yes.
not really addressing the cause.
Yes. Positive thinking has a goal of changing your behavior instead of the cause of the behavior. Exactly, which is the thinking. Thank you. Yes.
An analogy that we heard this weekend was you have a runaway freight train that's going downhill.
Mhm,
That's your
mhm.
ego, that's
Yes,
your conflict.
That's right,
And you better acknowledge that that's happening.
absolutely,
Because how do you stop a runaway freight train going downhill?
yeah,
You don't stop it.
yeah,
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 Yeah, so
exactly,
you need to find another way to deal with it.
exactly, thank you.
Yeah.
Harlan?
Well, I was reading something earlier about saying that we have to bring the darkness to the light.
Mm-hmm.
And so if we don't know what the darkness is, we have a hard
Yes.
time getting it.
Right, exactly, exactly. Yes, Billy, did you have some?
Yeah, one more. Rich said, whatever we are feeling, we are healing.
Yes.
Feel your feelings.
Yes.
I have had the same conflict which lingers
Mhm.
for 1.5 years, and I truly look forward to the conflict fading, going away,
Yes.
being resolved.
Amen. I join with you in that excitement, Rich. Beautiful. Thank you. Okay. So, the Course in Miracles says that we're afraid to look at the conflict. Okay, I'm afraid. Same thing as saying I'm afraid to look at my ego, because the ego is telling us this: if you look at your conflict, if you look at the fact that you're in conflict, you're afraid, you're anxious. The ego says, if you look, you will be struck with horror so complete that you will rush to death by your own hand, only living on to see that you can kill yourself. Okay, so that's what the ego is always telling us. Don't look, don't look, don't look, don't look, don't look. Don't look at your ego. Don't look at this conflict. Don't look, don't look, don't look. Because you will be horrified and you will rush to death. You'll try to kill yourself. Wow, okay, Course. Now, the Course doesn't mince words here. It says you will rush to death. The ego says if you look, you will rush to death by your own hand. So you'll try to kill yourself. In all the many ways that we try to kill ourselves, we have such a wide variety of ways that we love to try to kill ourselves. There's just an endless variety, right? The most common one of them, fear. Okay, now, here's what the Course says. The Course says you're afraid to look at your conflict, you're afraid to look at your ego. But then the Course asks you to ask this question. The Course asks you this question: shouldn't you be more afraid to not look than to look? Don't you have greater cause to be afraid of not looking, since you obviously got an ego that's very active? Shouldn't you be more afraid to not look than to look, right? Because truly, not looking, like you were saying, is the worst result. When you don't look, then you will be sure it's real. It's just like, when you're like the little kid that, mistakes the shadow in the room at night for a monster. Not going investigating the shadow just keeps that child believing in the reality of the monster in its room. Okay? So Course in Miracles is telling us how to go and look at the monsters, the things we fear, that we're afraid to look at, the shadows in our room at night, okay? The curtains in the darkened room that look like a ghost, that when you go investigate, oh, it's a curtain, okay. So the Course in Miracles teaches us how to do that.
But the Holy Spirit is like a great mechanic. He'll show you exactly what you're looking for.
Exactly. So then it says, now, only by responding to your conflict with these instructions, don't evade it, don't set it aside, don't deny it, don't disguise it, don't see your conflict somewhere else, don't call your conflict by another name, don't hide your conflict by deceiving yourself. See your conflict exactly as it is. See your conflict exactly where you think that conflict is. see your conflict with exactly the amount of reality that you've given it. And also, you need to see the conflict with the purpose that your mind accorded it. So we didn't talk about that part. So I need to go like this. What is the purpose that my mind has accorded this conflict? That's an interesting one. Let's see. What purpose could this conflict be serving? That's an interesting question.
Separation.
Absolutely, separation. What other purpose could this problem be serving?
Specialness.
Keeps me feeling real special. Everybody else can have peace, but not me. I'm special. Everybody else can have love, but not me. I'm special.
Guilt.
It also keeps my sense of guilt going. It also keeps me feeling unworthy of success. It keeps me feeling unworthy of love. That's some purpose that this conflict is serving. Oh, I know. Another purpose this conflict is serving is it enables me to continue to feel angry. And I love that. That gives me a supersonic dopamine adrenaline rush that I'm addicted to.
Keeps you being the victim.
It keeps me being the victim, exactly, which gives me guilt leverage to use on others. Because if I'm not suffering and I don't have this conflict, then who's going to feel guilty enough to do it my way? So it gives me some leverage. It gives me some guilt leverage to use.
It seemingly gives me truth to the illusion that I think I'm living.
Absolutely. It absolutely gives me proof that I've been right. I'm right about how people are doing me wrong. I'm right about how there's not enough in the world. There's not enough love. There's not enough time, not enough money, not enough joy. It enables me to be right. Because look, see? Okay? So that's the other thing that now if you're doing all those things and you're looking at the purpose that you've accorded that problem, the purpose you're using that conflict for, now it's going to be resolved. Okay, this is how our conflict gets resolved. Then it says, the reason why this process enables your conflict to be escaped, which means resolved, is because when you do what we just did, then all the defenses around your conflict are lifted. All the protection, all the coverings, all the, what is the word, when you're hiding something, all the things that you've been hiding and protecting.
Concealing.
Yeah, all the things you've been
Shrouds.
using, thank you, all the things you've been shrouding that conflict in and enabling you to deceive yourself about that conflict, all those defenses are lifted. All the coverings, the heavy coverings off of that conflict are lifted.
Miracle.
Yes, that's a miracle.
Wow.
And once all the things you've been covering and hiding that problem in are lifted, then automatically the truth is able to shine upon it. And it disappears. Have you ever had a problem disappear? Yeah. You know you had a problem disappear before because you had a problem, and then a little while later you cannot even remember that you had that problem. That's when a problem disappeared.
CJ, a little timing's off here, but it also distracts me from my true purpose, giving
Yes.
me an excuse to not succeed.
Thank you. Exactly. That's another purpose that we've accorded our conflict. This gives me an excuse as to why I can't succeed in fulfilling my function, whatever that is. Okay? So, when you tell the truth and you get out of denial about your conflict, then all the defenses that you've been hiding it and protecting it in, they lift, and then immediately the truth shines on that conflict, and then the conflict disappears. And then you'll go, it's a miracle. You'll go, that's a freaking miracle. One minute I had a problem and it seemed really real. I mean, it seemed really real. And the next minute it was gone. It's a miracle.
It's like,
But that's exactly what a miracle is. And that's exactly how, that's the mechanics of miracles right there. It's the mechanics of healing.
it's like we have a boulder in the living room and we don't want anybody to see it, so we cover it with a
Exactly.
plant, or then we throw a tablecloth and a lamp over it, and we keep doing.
Exactly. And people come to our house and we pretend it's not there. And exactly. Thank you for saying that. It's exactly what we do. When really, you know, we're trying to pretend that we're not in conflict. Why? Because we're trying to keep up an image. We're trying to keep up an image of ourselves as smart and successful and loving and happy and, you know, all those things. We're trying to keep up this image of ourselves. You know, so, and thinking that if we told the truth, hey, I'm in conflict, and I think it's real, and here's what I think my conflict is. If we tell ourselves that if we acknowledge that conflict, that people will think poorly of us. That they'll think, when the truth is that people can see your conflict. Everybody can see our conflict. Course in Miracles says there are no private thoughts. Only you cannot see your conflict because you are hiding it only from yourself. If you ask any of your friends, they'll say, yeah, we know you had that conflict. You know, the people around you, and anybody who can see, who knows the truth, and people, they know you are in conflict. You know, our conflict is obvious to everybody but us. And that's why our conflicts stick around. That's why they stay. Now, imagine how much time we would save ourselves if time that we are wasting our creative energy. We're wasting our creative energy hiding, pretending, deceiving ourselves. We waste our creative energy, our creative potential. The reason we're here, by the way, trying to hold up an image, trying to deceive ourselves, hide from our own selves and hide from others, thinking that that is somehow going to resolve our conflict. If I just don't look at it, if I pretend it's not there, if I just, don't let people know I'm in conflict, then somehow I'll be happy. Gee, and I wonder why I just am getting more miserable and this problem seems to be getting worse. That's a lot of energy. That's a lot of mental, psychic, physical energy that really should be being put toward our creative function. Our creative function, which is how can I do what I love to do and be what I am for real and be supplied and sustained by it. That's really what our energy should be used for. Yes.
CJ says, I am in conflict. I
Good girl!
I think it is real, but I won't let anyone know I am in conflict.
Yep.
Because then
Yes.
they will think I am not as capable as I say.
Thank you, girl. Tell the
But
truth.
it is not me who is capable.
Yes.
It is God, love through me, that is capable. And then she goes on to say, my typos are evidence of this.
What?
My typos are evidence of this.
Wow, CJ.
But I
right
read through
on,
those
Blonstein. That's my friend Blonstein speaking. Right on. Exactly. And imagine like me and CJ, we're both psychotherapists. You know, we're taught that you can't just tell people, oh, I'm insane. I'm in conflict. I'm in conflict. You can't, you know, the world tells you, as a psychotherapist, you can't tell people you're insane. Nobody will come see you. Right? We're afraid, we think if we tell the truth, I'm in conflict, I'm insane, that, you know, people will lose respect for you. But the truth is that, what?
We all are.
Exactly. The truth is that we all are. And would you go for help to somebody who never acknowledged having conflict? Would you go looking for help to somebody who projected the belief that they were perfect and didn't have an ego and didn't have any problems? I wouldn't. I don't want to go to somebody who's like, I don't have an ego, I'm perfect, all's well, it's all good, I don't have any problems.
The ego won't let us show our vulnerability.
Yeah, exactly. And what this is saying that only when you stop hiding it can the truth shine upon it, which makes it disappear. That's the only way, is to get out of denial, stop hiding. The Course in Miracles says the escape from your conflict and the escape from your fear involves 2 stages. The first stage is this. There is nothing I want to hide, even if I could. There is nothing. Oh, the first stage is this. My ego cannot hide. I can't hide my ego. I wish I could. I've been trying really hard to. And I've been getting a lot of images and masks and degrees and words and things in order to try to hide that I'm afraid and that I'm in conflict. I got a lot of masks. I got a lot of things. I got a lot of self-concepts in order to hide that I am in conflict, I am afraid. Okay? So the first stage of escaping the ego or the conflict is to say, I have an ego, I'm in conflict. All right? The second stage in escaping from this conflict or from fear is to realize that you don't want to hide your ego, even if you could. I don't want to hide my ego, even if I could. Wow. Even if I could, I don't want to anymore. I'm tired. And it didn't work. My ego got bigger. My problem got bigger. So my ego cannot hide. I cannot hide my ego. Wow, what a freaking relief. What a relief. I don't have to spend all that energy trying to hide that I have an ego and that it's insane and it's mean.
We think revealing it is a sign of weakness.
Exactly.
And we don't want anybody to see us in that
Exactly.
point of weakness. Or
Exactly.
that place.
And now, and it says, and when you say, and I don't want to hide my ego even if I could, boom. Yes.
Rich says, yes, people stay in conflict. They don't want others to see that they are not in a high vibration. They do not want to lower their value on the ego stock market. So
Stock market. How's your ego stock trade today? Yes.
So I guess what I'm thinking about as you're talking, hiding the ego, it seems like we hide it through projection, blame, anger, and ultimately we've got to bring it back to
Yes.
why is this making us angry? What am
Yes.
I doing? And
Exactly.
that's where the correction's got to be.
That's exactly what it's
The
saying.
motive, like the motive behind it.
Exactly. I gotta
That's what you're
see
saying.
To
exactly,
solve it. Because if we don't see it honestly in our own head,
Right,
but we're hiding it in the world.
exactly, exactly. We are, that's what we've been doing with it. We are not seeing it as in our own mind. We are seeing it in them, the situation. If this were different, I'd be happy. If they were different, I'd be happy. We are seeing the conflict not as in our own mind, but we're seeing the conflict where it's not, which is outside of ourselves and someone or something. Mm-hmm.
Just as a follow-up to that, I mean, you could walk by a bar, a cafe, a lunch place
Mhm.
at any given day, and you hear people bitch about other people
Absolutely.
and what an idiot they are. We
Absolutely.
seem to have this idea that everybody else is stupid.
Yes, we do. We have this funny habit, perceptual habit of seeing other people as stupid. But
to
not
me,
ourselves.
I mean, I think this is the same thing, is it not? That we're hiding our egos in
That
this
is us
fashion.
hiding. That is another form of us hiding our own. That's so true. You go to a cafe or restaurant, you just tune into the conversations. You never hear somebody going, dang, I'm so full of conflict right now. I'm insane. Look what I'm doing to myself.
Except course students.
And the other person go, I hear you, girl. I am full of conflict and insane too. And I'm telling you, I'm realizing what I'm doing to myself too. I've been making my guilt so real lately. I know. And I've been projecting. You never hear that. Unless except for the people who are sitting around me. Then they're like, yes.
Perfect follow-up to that. Ego cannot hide. This is Sophia.
Hi, Sophia.
Sophia, ego cannot hide. Let me put away my masks
Yes.
that would hide fear and conflict.
Yes.
I am tired of hiding. It does not work.
Yeah, it does.
I'm relieved that I am willing to be exposed.
Me too.
Wow.
I literally just got chills through my body as you said that, Sophia. Thank you. I'm so relieved. I feel so much relief. I feel so much relief. You know how good it feels to be around people whom you can say, I'm really scared today. I got so much fear today. I got so much conflict going on right now. I'm feeling so guilty. I feel so ashamed right now. It feels so good to be around people that you can say that to. And they say, oh, honey, me too. Hey, let's ask for the correction of that. It feels so good to be able to say that to people and have them go, wow, thanks for saying that.
And CJ concurs in saying, judgment judgment of others is our way of hiding
Yes.
from our own stories. Great awareness
Yes.
there.
Thank you, CJ. Judgment is our way of hiding from our own stories. Is that what you said? Stories?
Yes.
Stories.
And then Sophia says, I'm the new doormat. I welcome everyone.
Aww.
I will wash the feet, but if I feel abused, ego will be exposed.
Yes. Beautiful. How beautiful. Thank you, Sophia. Thank you guys for sharing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Yes.
It's also a way of covering our wounds, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. But apparently, according to this, if we don't evade it, don't set aside, don't deny it, don't disguise it, don't project it, don't call it by another name, don't hide it, see it exactly where it is, acknowledge it exactly in the reality you've given it, and look at the purpose that your conflict can be serving in your mind, the purpose you've recorded it, then literally all the defenses that you've been hiding it with lift and the truth automatically shines on it. So you don't have to figure out how to resolve your conflict. You don't have to how do I figure this out? How do I fix this? How do I fix this? That's not your job. That is not how it gets fixed. It gets fixed by you telling the truth about it. You tell the truth about it. You get a denial about it. And then now it's exposed and truth automatically shines on it and it disappears. And you didn't have to do anything but be honest. Get out of denial. Tell the truth about it. Stop pretending that you're not in conflict. Stop pretending that you're enlightened. We all know that you're not enlightened. Why do we spend so much time trying to pretend that we're perfect and we're enlightened? Why are we doing that? Golly, what a waste of our creative energy. What a waste. When all I have to do is say, I'm insane, I did it to myself, and I'm doing it to myself in order to have a good excuse to not fulfill my function so I can be the victim and have other people feel guilty to do what I want, and then boop, it's gone. Yes.
So, I guess what I'm trying to get at, using his example of people sitting around saying, you know, they're stupid. So what we're saying is, the minute I'm in conflict, I'm saying they're all stupid.
Yes.
Basically, I have to look at where the conflict is, and if I look back and say, I feel stupid.
Exactly.
I don't want to see it, I don't want to acknowledge
Yep.
it. Now, what it's saying
Yep.
then is the minute that I do that, the minute I say, it's not about them.
Yep.
For some reason or other, I feel stupid.
Yes.
The minute you recognize that,
Yes.
that's when you don't have to work. Now, where did I feel stupid the first time in my life?
Nope.
Sorry.
You don't have,
Go back to
you don't have to do,
before.
thank you.
You don't have to do all that.
That's right.
It just once you acknowledge, I
Feel
feel stupid,
Exactly.
then it just lifts.
Exactly. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. That's exactly
Because
it.
we project it out and reverse it.
It's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Because if we
So-
don't do what she said,
Mm-hmm.
it comes back to us anyway. It just comes back to our unconscious, and we then unconsciously feel vulnerable. Or because whatever we've projected out is going to come back to us, and we're
Exactly.
going to feel vulnerable for the same reasons.
Exactly. Remember what we read this weekend? It said, when you project something out, what happens is it stays in your unconscious. What your negative perception, your negative beliefs about yourself, when you project them out and go, they're so such and they're so such and such, what happens is it stays stuck and lodged deep in your unconscious.
It aligns to
Whew. Exactly. So, okay, beautiful. So then it says this. Then it gives us, then it has a prayer. It says, Father, forgiveness is the light that you chose to shine away this conflict, and all my doubt, and light the way for my return to you. All right. So now, first he says that doing what we just said to do with conflict enables the light to shine on that conflict and make it disappear. Then it says forgiveness is the light. So basically what we just read, that is forgiveness. So forgiveness is not, I forgive you for what you did to me because I am the better of the two. I am the higher of the two. I am more enlightened than you. So I shall stoop to forgive you what you did. I'm not going to forget, but I forgive you. Now, bye-bye. Now, forgiveness is exactly, this is forgiveness. I am in conflict. This is where I think the conflict is out there, but it's really in my own mind. I'm in conflict. I believe it's real, and I'm in conflict so that I will have an excuse to not succeed and not be happy on my own, and that is forgiveness. Isn't that interesting? Forgiveness has nothing to do with I forgive you, I forgive myself. That is taking responsibility, getting out of denial about the conflict that you're obviously in. That's forgiveness. Isn't that great?
wow.
I have to share the excitement on here because you've got the highest amount, at least on my feed, you got the highest that it's ever been by like about 10 people. So Sophia wanted to say something. Y'all are some powerful love agents. I'm feeling you so strong. Spirit, help me remember to not hide my meanness,
Yeah.
but not to project it on my bros either.
Yeah,
And CJ says, joining with you in that
yeah,
sane perspective.
yeah. Oh, feels so good.
Wow.
Yeah, I say thank y'all too. Thank y'all too. Thank you all. Thank you. Ah, feels so good. So good. So interesting. So that's what forgive. So when I get out of denial about my own conflict, and I tell the truth about it, like it just showed me how to do, then that's forgiveness, and that is the light. When it said the light will automatically shine upon what you stop hiding, well, that's the same as saying that's the light. Forgiveness is the light, Father, that you chose to shine away all my conflict and all my doubt. That's the light. Forgiveness is the light. Wow. Forgiveness is the light that comes automatically when you stop hiding your conflict, your fear, your guilt, your pain, your ego. That's what forgiveness is, the light.
So I had a situation where somebody said something to me that triggered me, and she was being really warm and friendly, and I felt that she was being phony. And I immediately realized that I was making this all up, but I still don't feel loving thoughts toward this person. So do I just have more work to do there?
So,
Still have
okay, so
something.
in that situation, how would you characterize your conflict? What would you call your conflict in that situation? That you think somebody was being phony with you?
I don't really know what's at the root of it.
Okay. So the conflict was somebody was acknowledging you, saying nice things about you, and you felt that they were phony with you. Is that
Well, I
correct?
just felt that it just didn't feel genuine to me.
Okay, all right.
And so then I realized, well, whatever it is, I'm probably making this up, because whatever she's doing is neutral.
Right,
Like
got it.
whatever her motivations are or are not
Mhm.
isn't really what I'm dealing with. I'm dealing
Right.
with my reaction,
Right.
which is I had this immediate reaction, like,
So you had a judgment.
I had a judgment,
Right.
and then I realized that I had a judgment,
Got
and I
it.
went, oh, I'm probably, this is my ego, and there's
Got
something
it.
going on here. So I
Yes.
acknowledged it, but I still don't really
Got it.
like the person, and
Got
I
it.
still have feelings about it.
So it sounds like a conflict around authenticity or a lack of authenticity.
Yes.
Okay. So how would you apply this to that?
Well, I think I have worked a lot on being transparent.
Got
I
it.
guess I still
Nice.
feel that I'm not.
Got it. So you have some conflict about, or part of you your ego wants you to hide that sometimes you don't feel like you're being authentic
Okay.
or transparent. Would that fit?
It might.
Okay, awesome. Okay, beautiful. Thank you for saying, how do I apply it to this? Thank you.
CJ says, when I stop hiding my ego and admit what it is, then I can forgive myself.
Nice, very nice, very nice.
And just something from Connor again. When I stop love this stuff, such a better way to address conflict.
Ah,
Great
yes.
class, powerful companions.
Oh, thank you, Connor. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I totally agree. Right on. Beautiful. I love it. Okay. And this is also what enables us to be transparent and authentic, like you said, and also to draw around us people that we feel safe with. You know, how wonderful to be surrounded by people who we feel safe with, who we feel safe to be authentic, to be transparent around. I am insane today. How you doing? Oh, I'm saying, oh, thank you for being honest. This is the way, really, when I say to somebody, how you doing? And they go, I am messed up. I go, wow, thank you for being honest. How refreshing. And then they're like, oh my God. I can say I'm messed up and somebody says, thank you. This is the way to draw to you people whom you feel safe with. You can be yourself with. You don't have to hide around. You don't have to hide with. That's people that when you're around, automatically forgiveness happens. It just drops like healing drops of rain on a dry and parched desert that sometimes we feel like our soul is. That is how you draw people like us around you that you feel safe with, which people that forgiveness happens naturally around. You know, you and I are becoming folks that when people are around, they automatically, naturally, without a word, feel forgiven. They feel like forgiveness is happening in your presence without, you didn't have to say a freaking word. Why? Because if they don't have to hide in your presence, well, then the light automatically shines on their conflict and makes it disappear. And you didn't have to say a word. Nice. That is what we are, and that is what we are becoming.
First of all, I just want to recognize Mel. She says, love the truth in all of you. And Sophia says something that's real pertinent to this. I can't tell boss lady what I really think of her. but I can journal about my feelings,
Yes.
looking how she is a great reflection of my judgments.
Yes. Ego is a great name for ego, boss lady. I call my ego my inner bully. Your inner ego right now should be called boss lady. A boss lady's been talking to me. Boss lady's been bossing me around again, telling me what to do. Thank you. Yes.
You're talking about who we are, as a people. I brought this friend of mine over to Earl Purdy's service on Sunday, and she's gone to probably about 5 or 6 services. We go over to her church in the morning, and she comes over there in the afternoon. And so far, the conclusion, the real basket that she's walking away with, is she goes, these people are so loving and non-judgmental.
Nice.
Those were her exact words.
Beautiful.
I was just walking down the sidewalk listening to her talk, and she goes, it's so nice when I come in there now, I think, no matter what, at least in here, nobody in here is judging me. Because I know that's how they believe.
And she could just feel
it's
that.
so comforting to sit in that.
Nice.
And I was like walking more down the
And
sidewalk.
she could just feel that. It's not like she's known those folks forever. That was coming to class one time.
The philosophies and
see?
the teachings, and she's going, these people believe this stuff?
Yeah.
Like they're not supposed to be judging everybody.
And she
Do
must
they
have
really-
felt
and then
it.
she's feeling that, wow, they really are, at
Yes.
least what she's getting,
Yeah. She
They really
didn't even
are-
know them, and she felt
She's
that.
receiving they're really genuine.
That's
We're
right.
really genuine
Beautiful.
because we've answered the call.
Exactly. Exactly. Did you have your answer? Okay.
That's like very much what you're talking about is if you live in that space, then it just opens up for her.
Exactly.
She doesn't have to understand even. We don't have to
Exactly.
understand
She didn't even
feelings
know
for it to
those
happen.
folks, and she just felt forgiven.
Yeah.
So they didn't necessarily say anything to her personally, and then she felt forgiven. She felt safe. She felt safe. This is the way that we become a healing presence. This is how we become an automatically forgiving presence, which means a healing presence. And you don't have to say anything. You don't have to say anything. Just the fact that you are being authentic, which means you're opening up your conflict to the light that does the healing itself, enables them to feel not judged and forgiven in your presence. I love that. I love it. I love hearing about how to be a healer without having to do anything. I love that because I'm lazy. Tell me how to do it without doing much. So, then it says, the last line, it says, no light but this can end our evil dream. Wow. Well, just call it what it is, Course in Miracles. The Course in Miracles, the author of A Course in Miracles does not suffer, his teaching does not suffer from the belief that he has to be nice, that he has to, that he has to play nice with people's egos. He goes, you got an evil dream. And this is no light but this can what? Can end our evil dream. What's an evil dream? The ego dream. What's an evil dream? An evil dream is a mean dream. An evil world is a mean world. An evil world, a mean world, is a world where not even children are safe. Anybody recognize that? Okay. The only thing that can end a dream where not even children are safe is this. No light but that. But what we just talked about, only no light but this can end our evil dream. Wow. Well, then I want me some of that. That's all I have to say. Because I want whatever ends this mean dream. It's too mean. Okay? It's so mean that it's evil. Yes.
Jen chimed in and says, I so enjoy being around authentic souls like all of you.
Yeah.
I needed to hear this exact message today.
Oh.
Thank you for sharing the light.
Oh.
Thank you, Jen.
Thank you, Jen. Thank you. Beautiful. I so enjoy being around people also that I feel safe to be authentic around. That's where it's at. That's the only thing that ends our mean dream. Our dream where we feel alone and isolated and scared and anxious. Because it's like this. What are you going to feel guilty about relative to your ego that everybody else does? Now, if you recognize that we all have the same ego, it does the same thing, it says the same things, all of our egos are the same. They're mean, they're judgmental, they're critical, they're anxious, they're depressed, they're angry, they're projecting. Now, if you accept that we all have the same ego, it's all doing the same thing, you know how we know? Because we're all here. That's how you got here. Mm-hmm. You're here, guess what? You got an ego. Nobody comes here who doesn't have an ego. And so, if you can accept that we all have the same ego, is all doing the same thing, your ego is as mean as my ego, is as mean as their ego, then are you going to feel guilty about having an ego? And are you going to need to hide it?
No.
That's the answer.
What, asks CJ? Or like, what, asks CJ? My ego is just weaving an evil dream.
Yeah.
Gee, wake me up, please.
Yeah, amen. Wake me up. Exactly. This is the way to stop feeling guilty about having an ego. And this is the way to undo the ego by letting the light, which is forgiveness, do it for you. So that your ego, the conflict, disappears. Whew. So that the thing you felt you had to hide and deny and hide and hide and hide and shame and deny. I don't want anybody to know. I don't even want me to know. When it disappears in an instant without you having to do anything. You have to go to therapy. You have to get it done. You have to do this. You have to get someone to change. You have to change. It did it for you. Wow. Now, so it says, no light but this can end our evil dream. And it says, no light but this can save the world. Same thing. No light but this can end our evil dream. No light but this can save our world. Wow. What is this world? It's an evil dream. It's a dream of evil. It's a dream of meanness, profound cruelty to the children of God. It says, and the reason that no light but this can save the world is that only this that we're talking about doing will never fail in anything, being your gift to your beloved souls. That's us saying it to God. Only this will never fail in anything, because this, what we just read, this solution, is God's gift to us, his beloved souls. This solution, this resolution to conflict we just read about, that is God's gift to us. Who are we? God's beloved souls.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, well that is lesson 333. Let's now do our financial expression of appreciation. Billy, will you pass that around? The basket's right beneath you.
Great.
And then we're going to do our integration meditation. You've got a little bit of a late start because we had some technical difficulties. If you need to leave right now, you are innocent. So yeah, don't forget, I am a holistic psychotherapist, and I facilitate something called Miracle Psychotherapeutic Sessions. And these are sessions where we join, whether on Skype or phone or in person, and we take the things that your ego wants you to hide and keep, the conflict your ego wants you to hide and keep. We bring them into the light so that we bring them out of denial, out of hiding, so that the light of forgiveness can shine upon them and that your conflict can disappear. That's what I do in those sessions. Please feel free to contact me if you'd like to have a session like that with me. Go to my website, annakajawa.com, and contact me from there, or you can call me on the phone if you know my number.
Facebook.
Oh, Facebook, thank you. Oh, by the way, if you're not a Facebook friend of mine, send me a request to be a Facebook friend, so that you can get whatever I send out on Facebook. Okay, so now we're going to do the integration meditation. And all we're doing in the integration meditation is using the ideas that we heard. That's all we're doing, applying it. So, because that's the whole purpose of this class and this course. All right, so what I want you to do is I want you to close your eyes and just take a breath. And I want you to tune into how you feel right now, having heard these ideas, and how does it feel in you right now to have heard these ideas with others who are learning how to become helpful and harmless, which is what we're doing. Take note of how it feels in you, body, mind, and spirit. We take note of how it feels because we don't want to forget it. We don't want time to close over this feeling. And so we make a point of taking note of how it feels. To feel innocent, to feel forgiven, to feel safe, to feel helpful and harmless. Beautiful. Now I want you once again to bring to your awareness a conflict that you have been experiencing, and in particular a conflict that you have been trying to hide from yourself or others. A conflict that you have felt shame around. You didn't want people to know about it, you didn't even want yourself to know about it. I want you to bring that to your awareness. And then I want you to tell yourself, I'm not going to evade this conflict anymore. I'm not going to set it aside. I'm not going to deny it. And I'm not going to disguise this thing that I feel ashamed of. I'm not going to see it somewhere else besides my own mind. I'm not going to hide it from myself with my self-deception anymore. I'm not going to deceive myself about it anymore. Because I want to escape this. I want this to disappear. I want it to be resolved. Now, the Course tells us I want you to now see it exactly as it is. Okay? Look at it. See it exactly as it is. It's guilt, it's shame, it's fear, it's anxiety, it's depression, it's anger. What is it? See it exactly as it is. And now, get honest with yourself and acknowledge where you thought it to be. Where, besides in your own mind, did you used to think that the conflict was? Was it outside you? Was it in them? Was it in that? Was it in your body, this physical condition, my finances, my relationship, that person? Be honest. Where is it that you thought it to be? Now, get honest with yourself about the reality you gave it. Acknowledge how real you think it is. Acknowledge that you believe in it. Be honest that you believe it and you believe in it. Beautiful. Now the next thing it says to do is this. Get honest with yourself about the purpose your mind has accorded this conflict. What purpose has your mind been using this conflict for? Well, it's a perfect excuse to be unhappy. It's a perfect way to continue to be the victim that makes other people feel guilty enough to give me my way, fill my script. What is the purpose that your mind has accorded this conflict? What you've been using it for? I've been using it for distraction. Beautiful. And then this is the prayer that we now say to our Creator. We say to our Creator, we say, Father, Mother, God, this is the light that you chose to shine away this conflict of mine and to shine away all my doubt. This is the way you are lighting the way for my return to you, Father, Mother, God. This is the way. This is the light. This is how you are lighting my way back to you, love. And I want you to tell yourself, this is the light that heals our evil dream. This is the light that saves our world. And then saying also to Father, Mother, God, thank you for this gift to me, your own beloved child. Thank you, thank you, thank you for this gift. Your gift to me, your own beloved, precious child in whom you are well pleased. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for your gift to me. Thank you for this resolution. Thank you for this way of healing and saving our world. Thank you. Thank you, God. Thank you, Father, Mother, God. And then just breathe for a moment. Breathe and feel. to that we say, a freaking men.
Amen.
Hey, freaking men! Thank you guys. Thank you guys for watching and participating and sharing. God, I appreciate you. And thank you for being here. Thank you for bringing your body here to class when you could have watched on Facebook. I really appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you for bringing your body here to help us to hear it better tonight. All right. May the course be with you.